What up though, One Pride? This is Ryan from Broadlines UK, and this is episode 1 of Ryan Rants. Some of you asked for this, some of you people like it when I decide to go off on one, so I thought I'd do a little mini-series where I just spend a few minutes saying what I truly think about some subject, each one a different episode. I'll only take up a few minutes of your time. If you agree, I want you to let me know in the comments. If you disagree, if there's any subject you want me to go on in future, let me know. If you think if it's too short, if it's too long, feel free to let me know. I'll be working on this, so I'd like to tweak it. But yep, let's get straight into this. So with my trusty head timer here, we'll start 3 minutes. And the subject this week is going to be NFL officiating. Oh boy, is this going to be a doozy. It's an absolute mess right now. If anything, it's a bit of a shit show. This season has seen so many awful calls, cost so many teams so dearly. The Falcons, Grady Jarrett, perfectly good sack on Tom Brady that was given as roughing the passer, which cost them a huge potential chance to win the game late in the fourth. The NFC South came down to such fine margins. Chris Jones not getting flagged for Josh Allen when he tried to kick him in the kneecaps and not get done for tripping. Jacoby Brissett flagged and then picked up when he did the double spike. Cade York comes on, kicks a game-winning field goal. And it wouldn't be a Detroit Lions podcast if I didn't mention the decision to then go and give roughing the kicker against a player who was clearly pushed into the punter, LA Rams v Seattle, which gave them a fresh set of downs and set the Lions back hugely in their potential playoff push and really put it down in the end of the season after we handled our business in Green Bay. That's just a handful of calls that were notable this season that really got people's backs up, but there's 20, 30, 40, 50 more. It's like clown school right now officiating in the NFL. It's got to get better. Goodell's got to get more full-time officials. He's got to get better crews. He's got to find a scheme or some sort of placement for past players to get into officiating, because right now we need more people with more common sense making these decisions, because at the end of the day they don't have to atone for them. They don't have to explain them at the end of the game like players and coaches do in press conferences. They can go to bed at night and they sleep a good sound night knowing whether Dean Blandino came on in that little bubble or not, saying that they did a good job or they got it right. They don't care. They're paid at the end of the day. If they make a mistake, that's fine. Even if it impacts the outcome of a huge game, they probably won't lose a wink of sleep over it. But that's not the same for us, the fans, the players. It's bullshit and it's got to stop. And it's been incredibly frustrating. And right now there's talks of the NFL being rigged, of game plans. It seems like a joke, but at the same time it also feels like some teams are also going into games and not just playing their opponent, but also trying to outlast the officials as well. With terrible calls. Like the Saints have had huge calls in previous times. The missed DPI playoffs. This year, Lattimore getting called for defensive interference when Thielen pulls his face masks and twists his helmet and it goes the wrong way. Calls like that can change games. Gives them a fresh set of downs at the goal line instead of a potential third or fourth down. It's total bullshit, and players like that have got to stop. And right now it's just making the game really unwatchable, really unenjoyable, but also incredibly frustrating. Like I say, former and current players coming out and then saying their bit on Twitter. Guys getting fined as well. Like I say, it was one of the Bosa brothers that got a huge fine for coming out and slating the referees after an official made a mistake. And they've got to be held accountable. And also, I think it's not fair that people come out and then get further punished for then speaking their mind as well. Like I say, we all do a job. They do a job just like the players and the coaches, and they have to be able to address and speak on errors that they make. And if that means they come out after a game and the reporters can ask them questions about calls and they have to stand there and face the media, and so be it. Everyone else does. Why shouldn't they have to? And I think long term there's got to be some sort of change in crews, how they're trained, making calls and making plays more streamlined. The helmet to helmets, the roughing the passer, running backs leading with their helmets. Like, what is a catch? What is a goddamn catch anymore? Officiating, I understand, is probably one of the hardest things to do in major sports, and it's one of the most controversial. But right now they're making things even harder for themselves, and now they're trying to make rules even more complicated, adding more things that can be a penalty. I'm not saying every penalty should be reviewable, because that will take away all the synchronicity of the game that will stop them being able to then currently flow, everything like that. So that's not the answer either. So I don't know what the answer is, but there we go. My timer is up. If you think you know what the answer is, let me know in the comments how this can be improved, but anything I can work on. So you know where to hit us up on the socials at Twitter, ROTLUK_. This should be up on YouTube. We'll see if it's up on audio, but yep, here's to episode 2. One Pride.